What's going on, my fellow A-plusers? Welcome back once again to a brand new episode. It is I, your Morphinominal host, Adam Perez, here to present you with another Zenkaiger review. We're about to get into episode number 12 as we're here celebrating Toku Tuesday around these parts at A-Plus Morphinominal. Your stop, as always, for your Super Sentai, Power Rangers, Kamen Rider news and reviews right here each and every week, guys. So thank you very much for certainly joining us. Well, we got a ton of content for you guys, as always, reaction videos and reviews headed your way today. But today, guys, we're going to be getting into Zenkaiger episode number 12 as we wind up getting ourselves some brand new mechas introduced in here, the return of Stacy, and of course a spotlight on some of my favorite characters from Zenkaiger in Zyuran along with Majin this week, guys. So let's go ahead and get into this week's episode. I certainly hope that you guys enjoyed it for sure. Another solid entry into the Zenkaiger series so far, honestly. I gotta tell you, man, when it comes to Toei and Zenkaiger, they've been doing a lot of like debuts, introductions, premieres of like first time gears being used, new mechas all the time. I almost feel like the first 12 episodes have been really just a gigantic present that they're just giving us brand new stuff each and every episode, and I'm kind of wondering how long that's certainly going to last. I got to imagine that maybe the toy sales are maybe through the roof for Zenkaiger so far. I mean, it's still relatively early into this season, but I am kind of curious because there does feel like this is definitely more of a push for a sale of toys than it is maybe really getting into a deep nitty-gritty sort of storyline, if you will. But who knows? Maybe things will certainly shapen up as the season certainly progresses, guys. But I'm kind of curious to know what you guys have thought about all the debuts and all the new weapons and gears and mechas and things like that. Have you enjoyed it so far? I definitely would love to know, because for me, the shine in this episode was all about the mechas, all about the gigantic Zord battles that we wind up getting here towards the very end, as we not only get to see the return of Stacaeser, but we also get the debut of his mecha in the Battle Caeser Robo, which takes its influences obviously from Battle Fever J's show also, or Battle Fever Robo, the mecha that they used certainly on that past Super Sentai season. So really great design. I think it looks absolutely great. I love just the design of the cockpit itself, all the different color orbs and stuff, seeing Stacy inside his cockpit. It really looked fantastic. If I did have an issue with it, though, I'm wondering if they needed to debut it here in this episode. The idea of having Stacaeser wanting to get so involved in this battle that Zyuran winds up completing it. Stacaeser jumps into battle, really kicks the hell out of the Zenkaigers, who are kind of at a disadvantage because they aren't even using a shield. They don't have their sword anymore, which gets broken in the midst of battle. So Stacaeser definitely has its way, but once we actually see Twokai kind of get more involved and it becomes a 2-on-1 situation, Stacaeser winds up splitting. So we don't even get a full battle from the Battle Caeser Robo, if you will. So it felt a little bit underwhelming in that sense, but I love the design. I love the cockpit, love the great presentation that we got. Just really short-lived, and it made me wonder if the debut of the Battle Caeser Robo would have benefited from it actually having its own episode of itself, or watching it actually put up a little bit more of a formidable fight, because I feel like every time that I see Stacaeser at this point, he's retreating or he's running away sort of thing. And I don't want to say it makes me doubt him as a villain, but it just makes me, wonder like how I don't want to say set or determined you are to try and take out the Zenkaigers, if you will. I mean, maybe the retreats have been smartly done, if you will, right? Smart retreats, not having the Zenkaigers take them out, if you will. So I guess that's always a good thing. But for somebody that really enjoys the design of Stacaeser, I want to see more of this guy. I really would love to see him more as a formidable foe, as a formidable villain. but the guy keeps running and retreating sort of thing. So kind of leaving a bad taste in my mouth a little bit, but I'll give Stacaeser the benefit of the doubt because he has found himself in some really tough situations when it has come to a 2-on-1 situation, whether that be in mecha form or when he winds up facing off against Zenkaiger, and then Twokai winds up coming in as well. So we'll see what happens with Stacaeser, but really great to see Stacy back this week. Ijiru continuing to finally finish working on his robot and clearly trying to stick it to his dad as best as he possibly can. So I will say this also, quick honorable mention, I continue to love just his henshin sequence, the idea of literally injecting himself and then just watching it form all over his body. Great stuff, honestly, great stuff. But that wasn't the only mech that wound up getting introduced this week that really floored me, as we get the opportunity here to see once again Flint just showing off her genius, right? Continuing to make modifications. One of the things that I talked about in the previous episode was that when it comes to Flint, I really would like to see her thought process, her actually creating these things. While we didn't necessarily get to see her create anything, I did at least like seeing her kind of draw out like a game plan for how they were going to take out Snail World in this episode. But Flint continues to show her value and her worth to this team, if you will, as part of the Goldtweaker family, as she not only helps them take out Snail World, but also has some modifications to Towkaiser's gigantic airship, if you will. I can't remember what they call it, the Crocodile-Oh. I can't remember what they call it, honestly. I just refer to it as his airship as of right now. But getting the opportunity to see that Ricky and Kataner can now get in on the fun, as we finally get to see Kataner step up thanks to Twokai, and they actually use his airship to transform into the Twokai-Oh Kataner, which continues to get its inspiration from Shinkinger, and this mecha looks fantastic. I absolutely loved it. And what helped this mecha for me in this episode specifically was the idea that the Snail World actually caused for some rain, 100% precipitation, rain coming down, a lot gloomier, a little darker setting in the town that they're fighting in. Little slower movements. I really love the way that this Zord battle was certainly shot, honestly, from just the rain alone, from the idea of it being sort of more gloomy outside. I thought it really added to the tone and the atmosphere of this battle. So I really love what the Twokai-Oh Kataner could certainly do, and it really makes me anticipate exactly what we're going to get when it comes to Ricky forming his own as well. So I'm really looking forward to that. And honestly, great music selection in this episode, especially for the Zord battles that we wind up getting. Truly floored me this week. So 2 great mecha debuts, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what the rest of them are certainly going to look like. But yeah, Flint continues to show her worth and her value this week. Quick honorable mention, we did have a couple new gears showcased this week, at least one specifically, in regards to the Turbo Ranger gear was used. They even threw in the line shift into turbo in this episode, as we see some of our Zenkaigers and Twokai kind of stuck in slow-mo mode from the Snail World attack. And in order to go ahead and get them from moving slowly to back to regular speed, they wind up hitting him with the Turbo Ranger. The Turbo Ranger gear, if I'm not mistaken. So really cool to see. If I'm not mistaken, I think the shift into Turbo probably comes more from the Car Ranger adaptation into Power Rangers Turbo. But I don't know if that's a line that they also use in Turbo Ranger or not. But I am kind of curious to eventually find out one day. But so yeah, great use of gear. And again, we also get the opportunity to see that now that Flint has created secondary gears for Towkaiser himself, both teams can actually go ahead and utilize the same gear at once. I believe they mentioned the idea last week, though, that there's a potential that you can get 2 different types of attacks, even though they're using the same Sentai gear. But in this sense, that Turbo Ranger shift in the turbo attack certainly is something that they needed to utilize to go ahead and get everybody moving at the correct speed. But I really enjoyed the representation of Snail World and how just effects wise how they made it look, as far as like moving slowly. Like I am wondering if it's a combination of the actors themselves just moving extremely slowly, and maybe even some of the whoever's editing the shots and stuff, maybe just slowing it down from time to time. But I thought it was a pretty cool effect to kind of see how it was utilized here in this week's episode. But when it comes to our characters and some of the storyline details, first and foremost, Zyuran continues to grow on me as my favorite character. I think it does have a lot to do with the fact that he is an older gentleman. So sometimes I feel like our mindsets are just in the same place, how we deduce situations and figure things out. So I feel almost pretty relatable to Zyuran at times. But I really continue to enjoy the bond that Zyuran and Majin wind up having. They clearly have had a past with one another that we saw from the Majin episode very early in the season. So to see them continuing that friendship and that bond and allowing it to continue to grow here on the show, them clearly hanging out with one another, maybe going shopping and things like that, continues to grow on me. So I'm really glad that it was these two characters that we're focused on here in this episode. As you come to quickly find out that Zyuran and Majin, maybe not the biggest fans of the Twokai and the Goldtweaker family, taking up all their spotlight, if you will. I love the scene of like these little kids coming up and asking about Twokai, wondering what his name is, wanting to get his autograph. But then when they come to find out that he's really not technically a part of the team, then all of a sudden we've got Zyuran who gets a little hurt at the idea that they certainly don't want his autographs at all. You know what I mean? For me, I find it pretty interesting that the idea that Zyuran really doesn't want to be associated with them, if you will, right? Kind of maybe questioning some of their antics, the way that they certainly do things or handle themselves, if you will. I think maybe sometimes the openness of Towkaiser and Flint being so adamant about them just doing things for themselves maybe kind of rubs Zyuran the wrong way. I think he kind of looks at Kaido and the rest of the team, how fond they are of Towkaiser and Flint, how much they want them to be a part of the team. Yet you can clearly see from these episodes that we've seen so far that Flint makes it perfectly clear that we're not doing this because of you, that we're here to try and save our brother and to get him back to safety. You even have Towkaiser in here, the idea of them forming together as a team, right? Getting ready to go ahead and pose. And he's like, I don't want anything to do with you guys, and kind of walks off on his own. So I definitely do think a part of that has a lot to do with maybe what rubs Zyuran certainly the wrong way. That and along the lines that Towkaiser can dance, and Zyuran clearly loves to dance, and the fact that Zyuran clearly thinks that he's got better moves than Towkaiser. So I'm sure there's some jealousy aspect connected to that, especially when, you can clearly see the kids running away from you because they have no interest in you. But I get the idea of maybe not necessarily being too fond of the motives of Towkaiser along with Flint, in the sense that, you guys are here, but you're not really part of the team. You're kind of just doing things on your own. Maybe we can kind of work together from time to time, but aside from that, you're not really Zenkaiger. So definitely rubbing Zyuran and Majin the wrong way, which I was actually kind of surprised to see. But I'm really glad that they focused in on that just a little bit more here in this week's episode. But we'll see what happens when it comes to Towkaiser along with Flint. And, we even got the little bit of a aspect of this week's episode where, Flint mentions the idea that he's got to be the strongest, not the strongest, but he's got to be able to take care of himself. He's got to be able to find and get out of situations on his own. That's one of the reasons why he's sort of the leader of that particular family. Although Zyuran doesn't quite know how to handle that idea, because towards the end of this episode, he tries to bring it back up once again. And Towkaiser says, look, I get it. We do work together, but I'm the one that's got to finish things, right? I'm the one that usually has to do the heavy lifting. And to that, while I understand where Towkaiser's coming from, I will say, Flint's been doing a lot of heavy lifting herself. I do think it is an idea of maybe he should lean on his relatives and his sisters and brothers to kind of help him out a little bit more, and maybe not put so much stress on himself, or like that burden on his shoulders to be the one to always have to be the best or the strongest or take care of things, if you will, because clearly Flint is kind of coming into her own. And there have been rumors going around, and again, just rumors, grain of salt, that maybe at some point in time Flint might end up becoming a Silver Ranger herself, in a sense. I think they were talking about maybe in a possible summer movie or something like that. So just based off of what Flint's been able to do, just genius level wise, modifications to the airship, coming up with brilliant plans to certainly help her brother out, I don't see why he's got to put all that burden on himself, and maybe allow Flint to kind of take that next step to really be, or at least help him out 50-50 here when it comes to the Goldtweaker name. So it should be interesting to see how things transpire for the Goldtweakers. But I continue to love just the butting of heads here, not only between our Zenkaigers, who clearly can't figure out how they feel about Twokai and the Goldtweakers, or at least mutually agree. I continue to love just the knocking of the heads between Zenkaiger, the team, and the Goldtweakers as well, because you can clearly see they both have their own agendas, but when it comes to Kaido, he just wants everybody to be as one, you know, and not necessarily sure if he's going to get that wish or if that's eventually going to be an end result, but we'll definitely have to see how it goes. But guys, listen, I want to know what you guys thought about this particular week's episode. What stood out to you? Are there any character development moments, storyline moments that I missed that you certainly want to go ahead and talk about? Just remember, these are just simply my A+ opinions, but at the end of the day, I definitely want to go ahead and know yours. So let your thoughts be known in the live chat or the comment section box below, guys. But other than that, that's going to do it for me here. I would love to go ahead and continue this conversation with you guys afterwards, so definitely go ahead and let your thoughts be known. If you want to follow us on social media, right here at A+ Opinions, guys, and of course, if you continue to love our content, hit that big thumbs up and certainly go ahead and subscribe to our channel. It definitely does go a long way, guys. But until next time, guys, do me a big favor. As always, take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and until next time, keep it A+. Full throttle, non-stop. I'll talk to you later. Bye.